Welcome to Orange Therapy on YouTube. My name is Julie. I am a professional counselor, and this is my co-counselor, Ed. He's pretty excited today. We're glad that you joined us, here to learn more about cognitive distortions, the thinking errors that sometimes cause difficulty in our life. Albert Ellis, who was one of the forefathers of cognitive behavior therapy, said that there are three musts that cause difficulty in our life. The first must is that I must do well. The second must is you must treat me well. And the third must is that the world must be easy. And he said that this Musterbation, he was quite a guy, led us to a series of shoulds that impacted our lives. He said we should all over ourselves. Told you he was quite a guy. So today we're going to explore how those particular shoulds come up in our lives. Remember, the cognitive distortion is a lens that causes difficulty in our lives. And when we're seeing the world through this lens of the should, the world becomes very rigid. It's either this way or no way. It's my way or the highway. You can see how that might cause difficulty in our lives, right? If I can't meet the standard that I must do well, then I end up being sad or depressed, down on myself, right? If I feel like you must treat me well, the should revolves around thoughts that you must be this way or you should do that, you should always serve me. You can see how that could lead to criticism and contempt. And finally, if I believe that the world must treat me fairly, that third must of the Musterbation, then my should might be I should get that promotion because I've put in enough time. I should be able to do this by now. I should have a husband and children and that dog and the family and be happy at this point. I should. And if I believe in these shoulds, if the world should be fair for me or easy for me, I end up living in a very negative place, and we don't want to live there. Now, I just want to make a note because I hear myself even thinking, well, what do we do with setting goals then? Because if I want to set goals, I'm looking at I should do this or I should do that. It's not about not having high standards. It's about this absolute. It's about the rigidity of it that can cause problems. If I'm excavating to look for these habits of thought within myself, then I'm going to notice when maybe I'm feeling bad about myself. And I'm going to then look and see, are any of these shoulds playing out? Are any of these absolutes playing out in my life? Because remember, if I feel that I must be a certain way and I'm not behaving in that way, if I feel that I should go out and work out every day, I should wake up at this hour, or I must not eat that food, or I oughtn't do that thing that I'm doing, then I might beat myself up. There's a lot of blame and shame being heaped on myself because of the rigidity of that. So I need to pay attention there. If I find myself resentful or disappointed in somebody else, then I need to pay attention to maybe the musts or the shoulds that are taking place in our relationships. And I'm going to use a personal example here. So for years, when my husband and I were first married, I would go to the kitchen to get a drink, and I would call back and ask, I'm going to get a drink, would you like one too? Because my thought was a good person should always ask the other person if they want something. But it became negative in the rigidity of it, because when Stephen would go to the fridge to get himself a drink and sit back down without asking me if I wanted a drink, I would fume inside. And I would see him getting up to do it. And he would sit across the room and he would say, why are you so upset? And I would be like, it's nothing. And they would know, like, I see that you're angry. And I would finally fess up to the fact that I was angry that he didn't ask me if I wanted a drink when he got up to get himself a drink. Like, you should ask me if I want a drink too. And he said, Julie, if you want a drink, just tell me you want a drink. I'd be happy to get one for you. I didn't know that you wanted a drink. And it's crazy, right? My should led me to believe that he was a terrible person because he wasn't asking me if I wanted a drink. The rigidity of that. Now he does ask me if I want a drink a lot of the time now because we've had the laughing conversation about it. But now if he doesn't, I don't feel like he ought to ask me if I want a drink, because some of the time when he didn't ask me, I didn't even want one. But him going out to the fridge, if I do want a drink and he doesn't ask me if I want one, I now say, hey babe, are you going out to the fridge? Would you please get me a drink while you're out there too? Saves a lot of anger and resentment, and it avoids the power of the should. I can ask for my needs to be met. Thirdly, the world portion, and I hit on it a second ago. If we see that the world should be a fair place, then I might feel like I should get the promotion over somebody else who applies for a promotion, even if everything is equal. There might be something that the other person had that I didn't, or maybe it just came down to other factors altogether. But the world doesn't have to be fair. The world doesn't have to reward me for everything I do. So I want you to pay attention to those words: must, never, should, ought, have to, even can't. Can't can be equally rigid. All right, so we can recognize those words. We can excavate it when we're feeling bad. The feelings are the piece that are the indicator that something is going on. Always pay attention to your feelings. They are to inform us, and then we do something. That's what feelings are for. They're to drive us to action, and they are valuable. Pay attention to your feelings. If I'm feeling sad, angry, depressed, vulnerable, hurt, pained, destroyed, betrayed, I need to take action. I need to figure out what is it that's going on. I need to take action. Okay, enough of the soapbox, climbing off that. So if we are looking at this power of the should, how do I battle it? Well, first of all, if I must be a certain way to be happy, then, and I'm noticing that I'm having these shoulds, or I must, or I should always, I might combat it. Is this actually an absolute? I should never eat ice cream if I'm going to lose weight. Is that true? I mean, we want to cut back on ice cream. We want to eat healthy. But if I eat ice cream when I'm on a diet, does that mean that everything is blown out of the water? Does that mean I'm going to gain back the 50 pounds I lost because I had one bowl of ice cream? It's about a pattern, right? We don't want to be rigid, but we want to choose healthy lifestyle. So we need to pay attention to that. Is this in fact an absolute? And if I can view things in a less absolute fashion, then I will allow myself those choices. This pattern of behavior is that I'm choosing healthy things most of the time, and I'm going to make progress. Sometimes I allow myself unhealthy celebratory foods because of whatever. It's Christmas time, and there's grandma's favorite Christmas cookies out, or I'm at a birthday party, or I just feel like it. And that's okay. It doesn't make you a terrible person because I shouldn't be eating this food. Don't should on yourself. Don't should on that ice cream. Secondly, would you tell your best friend the thing that you are saying to yourself? Would I say to a best friend, a good friend always calls me every birthday by this time in the morning. So if they don't call me, they're not a good friend. If I think a husband should always get me a drink, is that really true? I mean, would I say to somebody else that they should always do something? No, because I recognize that people often have a lot on their minds. And I would tell a friend, I don't think so. I think that maybe you can ask for that too. Look at the facts of the situation. If I come into my house and there's a pile of stuff on the stairs, and I think that other person, that spouse, is a horrible slob, they never put anything away, how am I going to feel about them? I then miss out on all of the other wonderful things they do, because the reticular activation system is a part in our brain that pays attention to what we pay attention to and what we think about. If we think they're a terrible, horrible person because they don't do this, we're going to see more proof that they are that way. Don't feed that monster. So if you see things on the stairs or you have your spouse going to get a drink, ask for what you need. When you come in and you see that stuff on the stairs, say, hey, you know, I know it doesn't bother you and you probably were busy when you came in, but can you put your stuff away, because it really does bother me. Or you can just pick it up and put it away. How long would that take? Phrase your wish or desire in a way that the other person can understand. Ask for what you need. You know, that's it today. Pay attention to your thinking errors. Pay attention to those cognitive distortions, the lenses through which you view the world. Don't should all over yourself this week. Don't engage in musterbation. I love Ellis. Funny guy. And as always, thank you for joining me here at Orange Therapy on YouTube. I would love it if you would like, subscribe, and share. I would say you should, but I don't want to should all over this video or all over you. Join me next week on Orange Therapy on YouTube, where you are welcome, just as you are.